Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ayer Board of Selectmen meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019. And if I could ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any amendments to the agenda tonight?
Madam Chair, I'd like to propose an amendment to the agenda under new business selectmen's questions. Just want to bring up the upcoming mass development meetings regarding the Vicksburg Square proposal.
Okay, I have no objections. So seconded? Yes, that was the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Any other amendments? Okay, that is approved. Okay. Any announcements tonight? Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, we have some sad news. On Thursday, March 21st, 2019, the town of Ayer lost a dear friend and its eldest citizen, Mr. Ernie Blassetti, who passed away at the age of 102. Ernie was recognized by the town of Ayer and the Board of Selectmen in 2015 with the Boston Post-Cane as the community's oldest citizen. He was born on August 7th, 1916, and was a 1934 graduate of Ayer High School. Following his high school graduation, he enlisted in and served as a Seabee, which is the construction battalion of the United States Navy, during World War II. He was a member of the Air American Legion Post 139, and this past February was recognized for his military service at the Devon's Memorial Museum, where he was presented with the Quilt of Valor. In his lifetime, there have been 18 United States presidents, with Woodrow Wilson being his first, and he would have served in the Navy under Franklin Delano Roosevelt. For many, Ernie was a smiling face in downtown Ayer, enjoying people's company on a park bench or at the countless community events he attended over the years, and he was a member of St. Mary's Church. He could often be seen riding his bike through town, which he enjoyed, as well as working in his garden and fishing, and he was an avid Red Sox fan. But most of all, Ernie loved the town of Ayer and its people, and he will be greatly missed. To his family, please accept our condolences and thank you for sharing him with us for over the years. And to you, Mr. Blassetti, I say fair winds and following seas. And if I could ask everyone for just a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, anyone here for public input? Okay. Mark, come on down.
Thank you. This is pretty exciting to be here for the Water and Sewer Rate Committee presentation. But first I just want to point out a couple public works things. I just found out today, maybe Selectman Hillman can vouch for this, that they finally fixed the guardrail on Westford Road across from Millbury Circle.
I'll let you know on the way home.
He's got 2 more sections to do, but
That's great.
I've been bothering them for about 2 years to do that. So, so that was done by Catania Spagna. It was part of their approval for their new parking lot. And then also, Castle Rock is going to begin filming at the DPW brush dump off of Bishop Road next Friday. So
Is this for a new show or
it's
for the continuation?
it's the continuation, season 2.
Wow, they're already confident about season 2. I loved the picture that got posted of the bridge with all the trees in the background. I was like, oh, that looks creepy. So I'm looking forward to watching.
So tonight, I just need some agreements signed. As you know, we're doing an upgrade to our wastewater treatment plant, and part of that is we've had some issues in the last few years with our electric service. from National Grid running to the transformer. So that was part of this project, was to replace that, and it's taken about 1.5 years now to get National Grid to
Cooperate.
Cooperate's a good word. So then, but they wouldn't cooperate until we signed got an easement, but to get an easement, we have to have a town meeting vote. So we figured out a way to do it so that we can get a license to do the work, and then at town meeting, we'll get the actual easement. So they have two documents that need to be signed by the board. One is an assent agreement, which basically gives us rights to cross that land that's National Grid land. That it's actually a National Grid, I think, easement that runs through us, so now we have to access on their easement. And then we have a license that, so these are two legal documents, and I'm not sure why we have two, but that's what the people at National Grid said, and then we'll have something as a town meeting warrant to finalize everything. So these are, so there's the grant assent agreement for signature by the board, and grant of license for the easement for signature by the board.
You look like you're upset. Okay.
Any more questions?
All right. I'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the assent agreement between the town and New England Power Company as presented by Mr. Russell.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Trustees, aye. Okay.
And Madam Chair,
Yes.
moving forward, we're working on a blanket easement language article. We're working out with town council that in these instances, instead of waiting for a town meeting, we can have Mark or Robert, whoever, come before you to assent to it ahead of time, so we're not in a 6-month window all the time for agreements holding up projects. Other towns have done it, so we're looking into doing that at this springtime meeting.
Great idea.
We're also, as part of that, I spoke yesterday with Mass DOT right-of-way people, because on the East Main Street project, we're going to need we need 2 permanent easements, which are basically for guy poles, for utility poles, and then we have about 55 temporary easements, which it just means during construction, we might be on people's property, and we're gonna be doing driveway aprons and things. So since it's a federally funded project, they have a specific process you have to go through and get easements. But rather than have to sign, 60 or so odd temporary and permanent easements, we'll do a blanket easement, and then just allow the selectmen to sign the individual ones. So that'll be on the town meeting warrant also.
Well, one of these is for the license, so we gotta do the motion for the license. So I'll make a motion that the town of Ayer grant the license to Massachusetts Electric Company as presented by Mr. Russell.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Now you can have that one. Okay. And I'm not sure, what are these two? Okay.
I'll just hang on to those, Mark, and notarize them and
Yeah,
send you to
yeah.
them.
Well, quick question. What happened to the lights below? Did you hit that bar?
Yeah. One of our guys wasn't paying attention, and he was moving snow off the sidewalk, and that was one of the new ones too.
Yeah.
So,
I know, that's the one that I said, I think we need a light out there.
Yeah.
Now we know why there's never a light out there.
so that's been ordered. It's just, it takes a long time to get those poles for some reason. I'm not sure why. Because there was another one.
In front of the Scala, is that
Yeah,
what-
I think we're waiting for that one
Yeah.
too. And then Bartlett, one of the crosswalk lights down in front of the library got hit by a car. And so that's getting replaced. I'm not sure when that's being done by the insurance company.
Right, right, so we're all set with that?
Yes.
All right, Scott? You can open
Are we on time?
Are we on time? Oh, wait a minute.
Yep.
Yep, okay.
Okay. Town Air Board of Selectmen FY 2020 Water and Sewer Rate Public Hearing Notice. The Air Board of Selectmen will be conducting a public hearing on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019 at 7:10 PM in the first floor meeting room at the Air Town Hall, 1 Main Street, Air, Massachusetts 01432. The Board of Selectmen in their legal capacity as the town's water and sewer commissioners will hear and report on recommendation of the town's Water Sewer Rate Review Committee, take public comments, and consider approval and adoption of the fiscal year 2020 water and sewer rates.
All right.
Okay.
Do you want to do it?
Sure. All right.
That's all, Mark. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Take care of this tonight.
So this is the water and sewer rate hearing. I don't know if there's anyone here who does not have a copy of the handout. It's really pretty engaging reading. So I think it's a Kindle bestseller. Anyway, where are we? Here we are. So the the town has a rate committee. These are the members, and we meet quarterly. We discuss, not only do we set the rates or look at the rates and recommend rates for the upcoming year, but we look at other issues that affect rates, such as connection fees. Like I said, we meet quarterly, and we're also this year added looking at the solid waste permit fees and bag fees, so that will be a new charge for the committee, and we started looking at that. The last meeting was March 21st, where we looked at the potential rate options, and the committee voted to recommend to the Water and Sewer Commissioners / Board of Selectmen rate structure, which I'll present tonight. So the goals that we have for tonight are to set the sewer rates for fiscal year 20, set the water rates for fiscal year 20, approve a conservation rate for outside water usage, and approve an increase in the water connection fee. So the criteria that we use, the overall goal is to set rates to recover costs and avoid significant fluctuations. I've been working in the water business for 40 years, and I can't tell you how many water districts and water departments say, oh, we haven't had a rate increase in 10 years. Maybe we need to increase it. And so how much do you think they have to increase it when they haven't done it for 10 years? It's, 25%. Ayer does a really good job. We've got a good rate model. The town accountant looks at everything, puts all the data in, projects the information out. So it says project expenses, including future capital needs, and looks at how we can gradually increase the rates to recover our costs. And what we found is the water and sewer enterprise funds are pretty healthy, and we can afford to do some capital improvements and keep our system maintained, as well as cover emergencies like with the PFAS at the Grove Pond well. If something like that happened in another town, you wouldn't know how to fund it, but we can work that into the equation. One thing we do use is we use our reserve cap funds as needed to offset any big rate increases. So some of the discussion points that we talked about as we're putting the rates together for sewer is we have a long-term wastewater treatment plant upgrade. So we look at where we are in that program, and we just have completed construction of the phase 1, and we're starting design of phase 2. So we're tackling kind of the important stuff like the electrical system for the plant that we just signed the easement for. So those are how we've prioritized the things. We also have just completed a sewer system evaluation, and we found millions of dollars of repairs are needed in our sewer, and there's a photo of why that's needed. We got a lot of groundwater infiltration into cracked and old sewers, and that's just means we're treating clean water that we shouldn't have to treat. What we usually run about 1.4 million gallons a day at our treatment plant. When we have a prolonged wet weather, we're double that easily. And what we end up having to do is send our excess over 1.8 million gallons a day. We have to send to Devon's, so we pay a premium then for that. One thing also that we've been really successful at doing is upgrading different parts of the operation to improve efficiency and reduce energy costs. And I don't know if everyone saw this. The town engineer Dan Van Schalkwyk was really did a really good job with this project. We got grant money, and we upgraded the pump controls at the Central Ave pump station. As you can see, that's projected to save about $5,000 a year. Discussion points for water. There's a picture of one of our water pipes. And so we do have quite a bit of unlined cast iron pipe in the system that was put in over 100 years ago. So we've got a program where we replace some of that every year, between 1,000 and 2,000 feet a year. But what that tends to cause is, and we had a meeting about that this summer, was we do have a lot of dirty water complaints, because even though we're putting clean water into the system, it's getting dirty as it goes through the pipes. And we also have a lot of dead end pipes. One thing that I mentioned, we had appropriate funding for the PFAS treatment at Grove Pond, and we just 2 weeks ago got agreement from the Army that they are definitely paying for that treatment cost, with the exception of the design costs. They can't retroactively pay, but anything going forward they're going to pay for.
Good job, Mike.
So haven't got the check yet, but we have something in writing. We have something in writing that says they're doing it. So for the sewer, just I won't bore you with all the numbers, but you can see these are all the costs that go into the budget. The FY18 actuals and FY19 budget and the FY20 budget. So you can see, wages go up a little bit every year. Some of the expenses go up and down. Devon's flow. And you can see in FY18, the next to the last line that says capital stabilization, that's where we take money out of our stabilization fund to help offset some of the large capital costs, and that's when we started the phase 1 improvements at the treatment plant, which was about a $3 million project. This just kind of gives an idea of where all of our expenses are. You can see a huge amount of that is wages and debt, and the indirect costs are really basically the benefit costs related to the wages. So you can see that's about 25% of is wages, and indirect costs is about 25%. Then we have a capital plan. Here's the 5-year capital plan. So as I mentioned, we have millions of dollars of inflow and filtration repairs that we need to do. FY22 is the next phase of the wastewater treatment plant upgrades. And we always keep we look at our fleet and replace vehicles as needed. But we really, if you looked at my capital plan when I first got here, had a lot more line items, and we really chipped away at a lot of that stuff. So this is how we calculate the rates. We look at the FY20 budget, what the expenses are, what we have for miscellaneous revenues and retained earnings, and then what the net amount is required from the rates. And based on that, we came up with we needed about a 3% increase, and so these are the proposed rates with the 3% increase. We have 3 steps, each at 3,000 cubic feet, so anything over 9,000 cubic feet pays at the high step rate.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I could just add on this, in the model that we use, generally the recommendation is 3.5 on the sewer, which it was last year. And thank you, Madam Chair, who's also the chair of the rate review committee. We had quite a discussion at the last rate review committee, and we were able to get it to 3 instead of 3.5. So again, within the model, nobody likes any increase, of course, but we're able to do a little less on this end than we have previously.
So now moving on to the water expenses. Here's our budget for the water department, and we are a little bit higher this year. You can see in 2018 our expenses was $587,000. One of the reasons for that is that we were doing the investigation into the PFAS treatment that we needed to do so we could come up with a plan to go to town meeting last spring. So we paid for that out of the budget. So that's why it was a little higher expense that year. But we will also have some potential additional costs. I think we've reduced it a little bit because we will have a bigger treatment plant now with more facilities to heat and maintain and chemical feed. So based on the evaluation, well, here's the water budget. It's very similar to the wastewater budget, where your wages are a significant amount of it, and debt is also. But we have a little less debt on the water budget than on the wastewater. And capital improvements, you can see we have our annual water main replacements at $250,000 a year. We do need to replace our filter media at both plants. So FY20 will be Grove Pond and FY21 will be Spectacle Pond. That's one of the reasons why we were having some dirty water problems this summer. Our media was getting pretty beat up, and so we accelerated that a little bit. We also appropriated money for a groundwater supply investigation. We have some water department owns some land over north of Wagon Road that we want to see if there's a potential well site there. One thing also I should point out, I don't think I had a slide on that. I have carried West Main Street in past budgets to replace the water main out there. It's undersized. It's a future connection with Devon's. It's also an area of economic development. So I'm working with Mr. Minoyan on getting applying for a MassWorks grant so that we can do that and not have that included in the rates. So what do we need for money for the water rates? You can see based on our current budget and our FY20 budget, we're using some retained earnings in this year's budget, and we come up with we need about a 2% increase. So these are the proposed rates for water per 100 cubic feet.
And just for a point, it was 2 years ago we did not have the
Right.
increase.
Right.
And then it was, no sooner did we not have the increase, then we got hit with the PFAS issue, so.
Correct.
So we do attempt to, if we don't have to do an increase, we don't do an increase. So we always look at that as a committee too, as to what we can do, so.
So with the proposed rates, what are the impacts on the average resident? You can see this is the quarterly increase and then the annual increase. So the total increase for the impact on a typical single family is about $11.20 per year. Except I know Selectman Hood has 2 teenage daughters, so
I was just
it's
thinking
going to be a little bit more.
times that.
How does that compare with other Massachusetts towns? And there's a website that actually keeps track of a lot of the rates. They don't have every city and town, but you can see in Ayer for water, our average bill would be $28.61, and the median in the state is $48.07. I think the $169.20 is in my town, but no, actually, I know where that is. What they have, that's in Cohasset, and they actually have a capital fee that they add on that will eventually go away. And a lot of water districts do that too. They add a district tax to their fee to pay for capital items. And then on sewer, you can see we're a little higher than average. The median is $69.56, and we're at $75.15. For a town the size of Ayer with the type of advanced wastewater treatment that we have, it would be really hard to be below average. We've got a pretty advanced wastewater plant. And we also have a lot of industrial use, which makes the plant capacity needs to be higher and treat a better quality of waste. So that's it for the water rates. In general, we also are proposing a water conservation rate. About 10% of our total annual water usage goes to water people's lawns. And we spend a real lot of time policing that, going around on. So we have hour restrictions and odd even restrictions. In my opinion, especially where we're spending over $4 million to treat our drinking water, that it's a privilege to be able to put that water on your lawn. So we're proposing billing the water-only meters at the top tier rate for water, so that instead of having 3 steps, you only have 1 step, and it's the highest step. So that's $3.84 per 100 cubic feet. And hopefully that'll have an effect on conservation and have people start thinking about how much water they're putting on their lawn.
And how much water, when they decided to water their lawn, that's running into the street because they forgot to turn it off.
Right. Or
How many
sprinkling
times
in the
I've seen
rain,
a
and
street
yeah.
that's being watered. Yeah.
And then we also recommended updating our water connection fee. The water connection fees haven't been increased since 2010. And we did increase the sewer connection fees, and we have that based on what we call an equivalent residential unit, or 3 bedrooms. The water connection fee is just based on service size, so it doesn't matter whether you're building a 3-bedroom house, a 1-bedroom house, or a 20-bedroom house. You're paying that same amount. So this is a little more fair, having it based on an equivalent residential unit of 3 bedrooms, and then we also I calculated, with the capital improvements that we're doing in the system, what it costs to provide the water for a new customer, and it's about $3,600. So these are the proposed connection fees that the committee approved. One thing that I did, I have an extra line in there, that is new is we also want to have a connection fee for an outside use meter. So if you're putting in a second meter, you're going to have to pay $1,000.80, because again, you're having an impact on our water supply quantity that does impact all the ratepayers. So that's sort of the join the club fee for that additional meter. So the rate committee recommends to the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners that, do you want to do these one at a time, or do you want to do them all at once?
Madam Chair, generally, it looks like there would be 4 separate votes. 1 for the water rate, 1 for the sewer rate, 1 for the conservation rate, 1 for the connection. So there'd be is how it would be recommended.
Okay,
We also should ask if there's public input.
I'm sorry?
Should ask if there's public.
Okay, I'll put the other
Yeah.
recommendations up.
Yes,
Yes, I have a couple questions. The first one is about the sewer rate. I believe that when we ran the sewer down Westford Road, that we said that this would help us with our sewer rates. And I see a Devon's line in here, I think page 6 it is, but I didn't see anything from Groton. On page 6, it talks about Devon's Flow and Devon's Capital Invest, and there's nothing from Groton on there. So has that been connected yet, and are we getting things from them? And
Yeah, so Groton connected last summer. They had one connection. They, the way our intermunicipal agreement is with Groton is we're giving, they have to pay connection fees like everybody else, but we're giving them a 2-year grace on that because they need to get some customers and get some revenue. So in 2 years they'll start paying a connection fee for all their customers. But we do have built into the agreement that we charge them a minimum charge, which, let's see if I can remember right, is it 10% of their capacity? So that first bill, they billed their customer, I think it was about $37, and we sent Groton a bill for $4,000 because that's the minimum charge. Now they have 2 customers. So, so they're using more water or more sewer, but they're not
very
using
exciting.
a lot. But they will, they have there's a housing component up there that's starting to connect and things like that. So we haven't seen a big rate impact yet, but we are collecting revenue from Groton. So eventually that will hopefully stabilize our rates.
so in time, would we see, like on your page 6, would we see on your budget, would we see a line for Groton in there in the future? Or
No, because they're just treated like a regular
like
customer.
a regular customer? Okay.
With Devon's, the reason they're in there is because we pay them to take some of our wastewater.
Okay.
So that's something that we have to budget. We have an agreement, a long-term agreement, it's a 20-year agreement that's up in 2 years. But we pay them a certain amount. So if I'm only allowed to discharge out of our plant about 1.8 million gallons a day, but if our flow is higher than that, then we divert it to Devon's.
Okay.
So.
Okay, and then my other question that I had was on the outdoor water usage. Just a few years ago, I managed to get a separate meter for outdoor, and it's been great. I don't know why I didn't do it years and years ago, but I did a couple years ago. But to be charged a higher rate when I don't water my lawn, I water my animals and maybe my garden, although I have water barrels I collect. I'm very, very frugal. But so I would like to suggest, I know it would be a little individual niche, but that the farming use would be a separate rate rather than people watering their lawns and stuff like that, because I think that would be appropriate.
I don't think we can really differentiate, because the problem with that is that if we were to do that and then you innocently were like, oh, I noticed my flowers need water, and now the neighbors have seen you watering your flowers knowing that you have this outdoor meter, but you're getting this exemption because you're a farm but you weren't watering an animal, then arguments will ensue. So I don't think that we can really break it apart like that, because there will be problems down the road.
I think you're looking into problems rather than, I don't think that's the case, and I don't.
Well, I
think
have to look at a big picture is what I'm trying to do, is look at a big picture. And I think that that's the big picture, because we all know that neighbors watch one another. Even though we say they don't, they do. So that would happen. So.
Well, that's something also, the rate committee, you can come to the rate committee meeting. I'm not sure when the next one is, but I would say wait till we implement these and then we can come and.
So when is that meeting?
It's sometime in September.
September.
They're posted.
It's a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah. So it has to be then it would be probably the second Tuesday or the third Tuesday of the month. Because I think the first Tuesday is part of the holiday.
You look that far in advance?
I thought we-
My life
Maybe just
is,
get up there with
the
yourself.
first
Yeah,
and third
exactly.
Tuesdays are always
10th.
in my head. You
September
can't do
10th.
anything the first and third
September 10th.
Tuesdays.
September 10th.
Sorry.
September 10th at 3:30. Right here.
Okay. Anyone else?
Just to comment on the water time fee, it's still very cheap compared to surrounding communities. I paid $4,900 in Westford. Littleton charges almost $8,000 now for a water connection fee. So I mean, it's definitely still very reasonable.
It is.
Yeah.
But I actually have a formula that I plug in and look at, and you know, I factored in actually the PFAS treatment into that cost also. It's defensible, I guess, even though
Yeah, I know.
technically water and sewer connection fees don't have to be defensible because the way mass legislation is written, it allows water and sewer commissioners
I think it's
a little
what
bit
you
of
see
leeway.
next door for
And,
$8,000.
yeah, and, you know, so a lot of water departments, they call around and say, how much do you charge? And they go, well, the average of all the towns around us is $5,000, so let's do $5,000. Which is legal, but really, you really want to have it be defensible and document why you're setting the rate at that amount.
Still a lot cheaper than a well.
All right. No more questions? Okay. All right, so the first motion would be for the water rate at 2%.
I would take it. I would like to make a motion to adopt the water rate for fiscal year 2020 at a 2% increase as outlined by the superintendent.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Take this one, Scott?
Sure. I'll make a motion to increase the sewage fees by 3% recommended by the committee after
Seconded. All those in favor?
that.
Chair says aye.
And take the third one.
All right.
I'll make a motion to adopt the water conservation rate at $3.84 per, what was it?
100 cubic feet.
100 cubic feet, as outlined by the superintendent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
And I don't know what the fourth one is, so.
The increase the water
I'll make-
connection fees, which is.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the proposed increases in the water connection fees as outlined by the superintendent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
They sweeping today? Looked like they're-
Actually, I think they started yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
They were doing a lot, I think they were doing sidewalks yesterday. They were doing the streets today, so. Spring is here.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
All right, now I'm going to close the public hearing. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Public hearing is closed. Thank you. All right. Mr. Minoyan.
You, good evening all.
Good evening, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Okay. Okay, so I appreciate the opportunity to come before you all. First item is a proposed Adopt a Street program. And this is something I know Selectman Hillman has given us a lot of motivation
Is that what
Got- there's motivation, a lot of motivation and encouragement, to address this issue. All towns and cities suffer from this issue because we have a disposable culture in America, and too much stuff we throw out. We'd like to start a pilot program. By the way, we have a very successful air cleanup day. I see Laurie Sable is here, and I know Carly's leading that municipal end. A great program and all, but that's, once a year, one weekend. We'd like to launch a pilot program. We're looking at the Westford Road corridor as a potential good pilot program out there. And, we've looked at different scenarios as to how to go about this. I've learned myself from experience, when you get out on some of our corridors and areas, it's exceedingly dangerous. And frankly, it's too dangerous to have citizen volunteers going out and cleaning up these corridors, even if we have, the benefit of police details and all. And I learned that from our experiences, our, good project we did out on the Rotary, which came out really great, the islands. But boy, we learned, and you're out there, I learned with my own body. You don't want to be out there doing this stuff. Very dangerous. I did a little bit of research trying to find, companies that actually specialize in maybe this type of service. Very, very few. With the exception of one really dominant company, and they are known as Adopt a Highway Litter Removal Service of America, Incorporated. Adopt a Highway Litter Removal Service of America, Incorporated. If you Google and go online, you'll find their site, and they do this in all 50 states. I probed a little further to find out, do they do this in Massachusetts? Yes, they do. They have a Massachusetts field office and representative. I went further and found out they actually administer right out here on Route 2 at 495. There is an Adopt a son, I forget who, but they actually do it. So they're in immediate proximity of our town. I reached out, I called up, and I spoke with their executive vice president and laid on her what we are contemplating. I said, Westford Road is a pilot, okay? I said, we want a cost estimate. If we were to contract with your company to go out and do this, can you give us a sense of what the cost, we'd have to bear to do something like that? Responded very quickly, and her name is Michelle Waldron, executive vice president, again, with this company. They sent a crew out onto Westford Road. They surveyed the road, and she responded to me, and I will read this for you, emailed on March the 6th. Dear Alan, good afternoon, all this stuff. My operations team went out and checked out the requested area for cleaning, meaning the entire corridor of Westford Road, from the Groton Town line right down to Sandy Pond Road and Willow Road. We would charge $550 per clean for both sides of the roadway you described. Please let me know if you need any additional information, clarification, etc. I was surprised that I found that to be quite a favorable rate to do this. And this is their professional company of going out both sides of the road, complete cleanup. That's just that portion of the cost. The other portion of the cost would be to provide a police detail. I'd like to drill down a little further with them to find out if they in fact need it, but I have, from my experience now with our police department, who really go all out always to make sure everyone in this town is safe, my gut sense is I believe they would want and require, and I think we should do it, require a detail officer out there, if in fact we do this with this company. Police details in Ayer sort of usually range between $60 an hour, upwards of sometimes $90 an hour, depending on the shift and day and all that stuff. So I would estimate, maybe between, an additional $600 per cleanup for a police detail. So, you were probably looking at between, I would say, $1,000 to maybe $1,200 or so for each of these cleanups. How would we fund this? We'd like to go out, and this is why I think Westford Road corridor is an ideal corridor. It's the corridor we have our concentration of our large industries, corporations, a lot of businesses. We know, and I know from my relationship with these folks, they always want to see that corridor look better and better for a variety of reasons. So the Office of Community and Economic Development, we're prepared to go out to meet with the companies that are out in that area, and we know they have a very strong ethic to civic responsibility in this town. They just do, they always have. And we're prepared to go out and tell them we'd like to launch this program, and we'd like you folks to sponsor it. In this case, it would not be an adopt a street. Adopt a street means you actually go out and clean it up. That's, you've adopted, you care. This would be a sponsor a street. So they would be sponsoring. And then the other cost we'd have to look at, we'd like to put up some signs, perhaps signage saying, you know, that this quarter is sponsored by the cleanup, and work it out so that it's an annual thing. Do we send crews out there maybe twice a year? We all know it's springtime is when the real, well, you got to get it at springtime. And and after the summer, when everyone's out in their cars and doing stuff, and it tends to be, I would say, late summer, early fall, we get through the winter just fine. So maybe we do a pilot program out there where we do a spring cleanup and a fall cleanup. And we could probably do this for maybe, $2,000, $2,500, something like that. And we're prepared to go out and get the sponsorship, get it together, and I think it'd be a really outstanding program for Ayer to lead the way again in doing it.
Sounds good.
And so we're prepared to go and make that happen, if you all think that this is something that would serve our community well.
I mean, I spoke with Ellen maybe 3 weeks about this, 3 weeks ago or so. We
Yes.
spoke. I was surprised at the cost too. I don't know if I necessarily want to limit it to the first year to just Westford Road. I mean, if I think we'd know pretty fast if it works, it doesn't work. And there's, I mean, I just off the top of my head, Littleton Road, Fitchburg Road, Willow Road, you get these little stretches that are just disgusting of trash. And Lori's cleanup is great, but it's hard to get every one of these corridors, especially when you're fanning out from the center of town.
And especially when you're dealing with volunteers, it's really
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's hard,
You
and
can't have people out on Westford Road on that bending road.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Superintendent Wetzel and I realized that about 4 years ago one morning we met out there because I couldn't believe how busy it was at 7 a.m. No, I think it's a great program, and I think businesses tend to flock to these things, especially our local businesses, Contania and maybe Pepsi.
Yes.
On Middleton Road, so good job. And once the litter's cleaned up, it tends not to get thrown. I think what I find is
Well,
once the
that's
litter
it.
gets tossed, people say, "Oh, there's a spot by Mr. Patton's house that it's might as well be say free dumpster." It's absolutely amazing that once one piece of garbage gets thrown out, everybody throws their stuff out.
You're right. It's the that's the you can tell there's a pathology to this, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, Selectman Hilton, because the other part of this, we can run around. And by the way, public littering is a criminal offense. There's a fine associated with it. Okay, so first of all, this is
Catching them that's
Yeah.
the
thank you, and
problem.
it's almost everyone knows in the real sense. It's thank you.
Yeah.
It's not practical. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
But it's hard,
Well,
yeah.
That gets to my.
Sometimes people, they're like, I think it even says, you open your car door and you don't even know something's falling out.
Yes, and this
You're
also
opening your car door on
happens.
Westford Road at 40 miles an hour. You're gonna get issues.
Well, that's not what I meant.
And the other thing
Oh,
this
wow.
happens we have a community here where there are a lot of folks in this community that have pickup trucks. It's the beds of the pickup trucks, as we all know this.
Yeah.
And you go flying, it goes, and you look at, oh wow, what was that? And a lot of this goes on, but it gets to the point of we can run around and chase people who are littering and pick up after them. To me, the real thing to do here is to develop a cultural shift in awareness in this town, starting as always with our young people in the school system, and starting, do we start a program called Don't Trash Ayer? Don't dump on Ayer, whatever it is, slogan, and get it out and start getting out there and working. Frankly, the other thing we should do, and I know this myself because I'll be out on the Littleton line during the pickup. Most of this litter, 80% of it comes from a few, the same businesses. We know what they are. That's the fast food places. It's the straws, it's the plastic cups, it's the individual plastic water bottles, and my God, it's the nip bottles. My God, the nip bottles.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so someone like me, then I need to interface with these as much as you can do, and all they can do is put their customers, put saying, folks, please, we want your patronage, you're busy, but when you're done, please don't throw it out the window. Please take it home and just start to permeate this in the culture. And, you know,
There's trash
that's
barrels
the
everywhere.
ultimate
That's
win.
what I don't understand. There's trash barrels everywhere.
There
Wherever you
are.
stop, there's trash barrels
It is.
downtown, there's trash barrels at the gas station, there's
Yes.
trash barrels at the
Yes.
supermarket.
And the same thing with cigarette butts. Go right to the corner of Park and Main Street, right there, little island, people sit there, and you look out on that little curb and you'll see, you know, the Madison.
Mhm.
So all this stuff, so let's start cleaning it up, but then let's also start the deeper thing of saying we need to start, you know, changing the culture and saying, you can't do this, guys.
Scott?
So there we go.
So, question on the $550 cost, did they give any kind of a breakdown as to why it's $550? Is it just, whether it's like just the distance, like, you know, the...
It is, I believe they calculated the, actually, I know they did do that, they calculated the length of
Just
the
thinking
roadway.
From a scalability, if we were to try
Yes.
to move this to 110,
Yes,
you know, how much more would that cost? And then how long would it take? So everything would kind of be exponential at that point. Because the
yes,
police detail would also have to be longer.
yes.
And then when we're looking at like a 110 two-way, are there any issues we'd have to go through Mass DOT?
Yes, we'd
regarding-
want to absolutely inform these folks, but this is the great thing with this professional service, they work with
Oh,
Mass
okay.
DOT, you know, so this is frankly why we're hiring, so they can interface, make sure, and then of course we monitor and confirm to make sure that they have in fact gotten authorization from Mass and everyone knows what's doing, yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
And what would be?
It's
the
new for me, I've never
timeframe?
done letter programs, so it's a bit of an
I think I
adventure.
read it's something like a $6 billion nationwide issue cleaning up litter, just on the roadways. It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
No, I'm not even talking about the ocean problem and the waterways, but it's crazy.
Madam Chair, I think Selectman Hillman was going to ask the estimated time for implementation. What are you thinking?
They're ready, they can launch the program quickly, but I do not want to. Let's be realistic, not overpromise. Okay, it seems reasonable to me that we could launch this program. And I'm thinking of myself, having to go out and do my, you know, it's not easy to go and ask people for money. Yeah. I would think that we'd be able to launch this program by mid to late June.
Works for me, I mean.
Yeah, that's not
Get it set up nice, do it.
Has the town ever considered, instead of asking these businesses for 4th of July and Christmas lights and the clean the streets, that maybe you had a town sponsorship? So, you know, Pepsi might be a gold sponsor and they give $10,000 and then you divide it up amongst the different activities. I know we have the reuse and recycle day that we try to get donations for. And I know if I was a businessman and I was getting someone coming every other week going.
And from
"Oh,
every
can you do
direction at
this?"
you, they don't, that's
You know,
right.
you say, just hit me once, and I'll.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And that's
You add
something,
that
Mark,
to
yeah.
your list of things to look
Yeah,
into.
no, I.
Yeah, we can do a nice package type deal and outline, and
And Mark's right, there's nothing, I mean, even as a small business owner, I get phone calls all the time, and you probably do it as,
Right.
you know,
Road races.
road races and, you know,
Yeah.
retired police benefit, you know, these calls, so it does get overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
we're ready to go.
All
And
right.
thank you for your motivation, Selectman Hillman.
No, thank you for looking into it and getting it going. Hopefully it works out well, because I think we could really benefit from it.
Okay. The second item is the proposed Welcome to Ayer sign. You ready, Carly? Ready 20 seconds?
I'll put a timer for
Carly, I'm going to do a Pecha Kucha test here. I can only address each image for 20 seconds, and then it will advance. This will be...
All right.
Hold on, ready?
Yes.
I like it.
Timer.
The traditional entryway to our town always has been the East Main Street corridor. This is what has always been recognized as you have entered the town of Ayer, and this is your point of arrival. And we believe in that, and we're going to follow that tradition and heritage.
Yeah, when MassDOT approves our project, that's
I'll
what
say,
it's.
Go,
ready?
you
I'm
can-
like,
yeah.
I don't remember why.
Okay.
It'll be dirt
So-
for about a year.
Yeah.
So, you just took 5 seconds, am I? Okay. She's timing me. So the East Main Street corridor, because the discussions, where should this be? Should it be at the town line? Should it be where? It really should be when you're entering the traditional town core.
Okay.
Here we have the, just to give you a macro perspective coming in, and you really see once you cross past the Rotary, you are entering what is recognized as to the traditional historic New England town of Ayer. So this makes sense, we think, to be the place for that sign.
Where your pointer is?
Gotta go. Gotta keep going.
Yeah, right here. We'll show you closer up.
Okay.
Pause the timer for a second. I gotta check the pointer.
Okay.
There's the rotary in the middle, Janice.
Oh, there he is. He's moving the pointer. Right, you want it in the rotary, okay.
No,
No,
we're gonna do a
no,
little
no.
pass. There you see where she has that
Alright.
little, there she got it, that little triangle right
Oh,
there,
right.
west of the Rotary, okay? And of course, this is,
Okay.
yes, okay, so we're ready to go?
I got it.
Okay, now, what led to this is a very well negotiated community host agreement with Central Ave Compassionate Care, now, going next into Gage Cannabis Company. You'll see it as item number 5, circled in red there, that the operator actually will provide $12,000 to fund this new Welcome to Air sign. So this is what we're doing, we're carrying through on this.
Right, and I think the last time we talked about this, we agreed that it would just say, welcome to Air, not all are welcome to Air, because that causes a problem. And the
We'll
word
get to that.
welcome should just be,
Mhm.
assumed.
Yes. And again, just to give you a sense of geospatial of the land here you're looking at, because it is really funky when people don't realize that lovely little island there with the, brook running through in the middle. But there you see, you go west past the Rotary, and there is the little triangular island as you're entering the East Main Street neighborhood. And here it is now closing up, and a lot of people, we see this 1,000 times, but no one's like, I drive by it every day, but I never actually looked at it. There it is. There is that neat little triangular piece of land, and you see a little sign of it saying State Highway begins.
Is that like a potting plant to the middle?
That's it. Oh, we're getting to this. And there it is, just a,
Oh, you don't ask about that. You
right?
can all night.
This is all part of it. This is right now.
15 seconds.
15 seconds. Okay, this is just from a different perspective. So you see, this really is the ideal location for this. Really, really good. And it's going to be on a bit of an angle because as you come at this westward and eastward, you just got to give it a little bit of a tilt so you'll really see that coming from both ways in and out. Okay, that is though. And there you see.
Oh, yeah.
That is, in fact, the 1907 Depot Square water basin. There is the shot of it where it's
We
set.
want a new one.
Mohammed's moving it back as part of the project.
No, we want a new one.
Okay. This is really, but so the great thing about this project, we're getting our welcome, and the fountain is coming back home to where it was originally placed in 1907 by B&M. It was thrown out of the square by the Department of the Army in 1917.
I thought we didn't like that idea.
Well, let's discuss.
No, your timer's run out.
That's right.
No, no, seriously,
Yes.
I'm all for the history of it and currently it always holds the flowers and looks very pretty, which up
Yes.
against the slide, slightly angled,
Yes.
for better view.
Yes.
But if we could find something new to put in the new Depot Square, aren't we also making new history?
I would. My response to that, which I think is good, is, would be the best of all? We should have a beautiful historic heritage piece like that, and also introduced to show that these are the bookends of, our heritage and our future. I would love to work with you because we do have a couple of concepts for some public art and sculpture that would complement
You're gonna have to
the fountain.
Maxwell.
I'm sorry, I'm doing my hands. I'm sorry. Okay, just some quick examples, because now you get down, guys, it's hard to design things by committee, especially. Someone has to decide, what is this thing going to be and look like? We've all decided, and again, Selectman Hillman really, and I think it's good, wants to see a granite sign. I like that because what granite says, not only is our heritage, it's permanence. Permanence.
No
This is a very good thing, and not a wooden thing and all this. So I throw just a few examples, because what we want to do is sort of this low kind of thing, because guys, you got to understand, vehicles aren't entering this thing, so you can't have it too high, it's obstructing the view.
No.
That first one I did, wait, I know I'm going, but could you just go, okay.
That one.
This I just did because rough hewn, all right, and everyone has a little different vibe to it.
Well,
So rough hewn
it says
block.
New England.
Mhm.
I sent you one too. From,
Okay.
Was it Littleton or
Yeah, we
Westford?
have that.
Yeah.
Okay,
What's
okay, I'm
the
sorry.
font
yes.
on the one outside town hall here?
The font?
It is, actually, I like it's I like our sign up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we go?
Yeah, Rochester, this is just sort of a, just, there it is, a block style, but more finished, polished, if you like that kind of thing. Okay, that's another approach. Here, let's say, okay, let's do the 2 granite columns with a piece across. This is, more finished, and that's right, okay. How about just a purely natural stone, and going this way all the
I
way?
like that look.
Interesting.
No.
Or going with this, more of a finished. Again, the columns with the, span across it, elevated a little. What will it say on it? That's the next fun part. Does it say welcome to Ayer? Do we have a little tag slogan thing? I do. It's a great junction. Do we say Ayer welcomes you? Or is it just the town of Ayer,
So we
Massachusetts?
say welcome to Ayer, Ayer welcomes you?
I think Ayer welcomes you is just opening up a can of worms for crazy people who.
I like this. Welcome to Ayer.
Welcome to Ayer.
It's
Established
very
in
traditional.
1871.
Yes.
It's welcome.
Yes.
You open your arms.
Yes.
I mean,
And I don't know if we
Ayer
want some.
welcomes you, that can sound very sarcastic.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh, it's all the
absolutely.
interpretation.
If I
I've
thought that
tried
it could
this for
sound
a
sarcastic,
year.
I can
Never thought
absolutely
anything
make
of
it
it.
sound sarcastic,
can
so I'm
dig
not
it.
for that one.
Very good.
I'm for the welcome.
I
Welcome
like
to
the
Ayer,
established
yes.
1871.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
welcome
like
to
that.
Ayer, established 1871.
And then think about if you want a little tactic. Everyone has, say Rochester the Lilacs. You might say Lowell is the Spindle City. Carly's hometown is the Toy Town. Okay, Winchendon. Actually, that might be a neat thing to put out to the community and say, guys, let's do a little contest. Come on, what should be our little tag? And let's see, or just
And
yeah.
people can vote.
And then the end, someone has to make the decision. Say this is what it's going to be, and then we're ready
Well,
to
I mean, the
go.
Great Junction is now part of our master plan, and we've got
It is.
that cute little seal.
And we
We're
will.
not putting the train on there.
No,
I didn't
by
say
the way,
we were-
thank you.
No, I'm just saying that we have it, it's part of the master plan with that cute little logo, but no, I don't want the logo either.
Okay.
I just want, welcome
So
to Ayer.
is it fair to say that this is the preferred?
Yes.
from
Yes,
this
and the
group?
Great Junction is debatable, but the
Right.
welcome to
Yeah.
Ayer, established 1871 is simple.
Good.
And
And is
keeps
it fair to say that this is the preferred?
Well,
Nice
either
rough
that
sign.
one or the Alta Sierra, that one there.
I like the one.
So it sounds like you guys are into more of the
I want
rough,
anything that can
natural
be
hue.
tipped
And then
over.
I sent this one coming in from Acton to Littleton. It's not practically my stuff, but it's one big hunk of granite, which is big like that. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not exactly what I was thinking, but I
But,
like the
yeah,
solid
that one or
piece.
the first one, I agree.
Because when a super hits that, it's gonna not.
Yeah.
So would you
For the
guys,
other ones, if they're standing up, they get knocked over.
Mhm.
You're not gonna be able to knock over that.
would you be okay with it just as you come in from the Rotary, it'll just be inscribed on that side, because they will welcome you to Ayer?
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
that, didn't we? If there'd be something on the
Well, on the
back.
other side, but thanks for stopping by.
Come back
Thank you.
soon.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could. And
Or
again,
on the other side, you say, why are you leaving?
Yeah, so,
We're done.
but depending on the budget and stuff, so at
Yes.
least we have a rough idea to start pricing stuff,
Yeah.
okay.
so we have $12,000 again, from Gage, and we'll see. We'll try to stay within that. If we're a little above, we'll make it work. And I think again, this is a really great thing.
I love these aerial photos. What were these?
Yeah.
What were these taken
We
by?
actually, Community and Economic, we acquired these. These are online, and we acquired them because they've been very useful in many things. So yeah, they're really good. And again, just shows you you're entering the, yep.
I know, yeah, the
So-
first picture.
Yeah, where's that? Yeah, that's great.
Mark Wetzel is going to recreate that because when the new East Main Street thing, I believe, Mark, we are going to have planting strips again, and I'll tell you, we should replant elm trees along East Main Street again. There are disease-resistant strains now, and that would be amazing. But we have our elm trees still survive right here across from Town Hall. We did
Works for me.
amazing.
Okay.
So there we go. There we go.
All right, we'll get started.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lord.
Don't
Yep.
be sorry. No reason to apologize. I'm just so quiet and small over here. I just, back to the Adopta sponsor.
Thank you, yes.
I just wanted to make sure that Selectman Hillman mentioned Laurie's cleanup, and it's not Laurie's.
No, I know.
No, we know.
I was just giving you
I know,
credit
I know
because you
everybody
worked so
knows,
hard
but
at it.
For the record, it's an initiative supported by the Ayer developed by the Air Recycling Committee, supported by the DPW, and hopefully all of the selectmen and other townspeople. So, that's that.
And Laurie and I did a cool video out at the town line. She was crazy enough to walk
And
out
it
there
makes it
with me.
huge, it really does. After that weekend, you really notice it when the stuff's cleaned up. It really is amazing.
Thank you.
And if I could just add, I know it's not Lori's cleanup, but the recycling committee is a tremendous committee and a huge benefit to this town.
Oh,
They do-
absolutely.
They do tons of work, they sponsor lots of things, they have a lot of energy, it's, and you know, Lori's the chair and really gets a lot done. It's really, really a credit to that whole group for what they can accomplish in this town.
I agree. So thank you for your participation.
You're welcome.
I mean, I would also add too on this, I mean, it's so, if it remains in the price range that Alan said, it's small businesses that want to get their name out there too.
You're right, it's a great opportunity for some.
You don't have to be a huge corporation to throw $1,000 donation to the town to, you know, for a roadway and get your name on the sign.
Right. Well, I like that town sponsorship program
Mhm.
too. And then it's
Yep,
like,
I
you
do.
know, everybody gets a little piece of it. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Robert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. Just a couple of quick things under the administrative update since the board last met. We have appointed a patrol officer, Officer Tim Elagio, with his appointment, and Chief Murray will be coming back to the board with appointments that have been made since the beginning of the year.
It's good for us to
Introduce,
see them and
yeah.
town people to see them and.
So he wants to bring the personnel that have been hired so that the board and the public can meet them. But with the appointment of Officer Elagio, who comes to us from, from Dunstable Patrol Officer, we now have a full complement. It's taken almost 2 years for the APD.
We had it for about
Yes.
2 minutes, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so with his appointment, there is a full staff at the police department. So Chief Murray does want to come before the board, probably not the 16th, the next meeting, because we have quite a full agenda, but the May meeting with the personnel, as well as with another update on efforts from that department. I mentioned the senior center feasibility project. We'll be getting that underway shortly. I'm just keeping the board apprised that is going to be moving forward. Also here at the town hall, the IT department and facilities department are about to start the wiring project here at the town hall, which involves many components. One is taking all of our IT infrastructure out of this closet and putting it into a secure system. Also, the rewiring is part of the new key lock system that we're going to be putting in place here, so getting rid of the keys and people have key cards. So we'll have more updates as that project moves forward. That was a capital project. This is phase 1. Phase 2 will be before town meeting this spring. After the 40B meeting, we're in the process of developing the memorandum of agreement per the board with the project proponent. Obviously, we'll have some more conversations with council and the proponent, and we'll be coming back to you with a proposed draft of that MOA, ultimately subject to to approval by the Board of Selectmen. Also, Superintendent Wetzel and I were at the planning board last night. The site plan was approved for the solar array on the capped landfill, and construction for that will start very shortly. They've been up doing the survey work, and when constructed on the capped landfill through the lease agreement, we'll be getting about $30,000 that will be going into the solid waste enterprise. So that's moving forward. As the board is aware, Mr. Dan Gleason has resigned from the Ayer Shirley Regional School Committee after 11 years of service. I want to wish Dan all the best, as I know that the board does as well.
Absolutely.
The school committee would like, as the board is aware, to fill his vacancy sooner than later. So we have advertised for the vacancy. We've already begun to receive letters of intent. The deadline is April 11th at noon. Anybody interested needs to be an Ayer resident and 18 years of age. Should send a letter of intent And they'd like to do that joint appointment on the 16th. It would be the three of you and the two Ayer members to meet with candidates.
I would think we'd have plenty of candidates. We just had 3, right?
Yeah,
In October?
yes, so-
Yes.
Cheryl was appointed?
Yep, so some of them are interested in others. And this individual will serve almost a year term if appointed until it'll be the next election of April of 2020. On Friday, Mr. Irving Rockwood came to meet with me. You remember, Mr. Rockwood is involved with the Sandy Pond Schoolhouse Association, and you're going to begin to see in May some work over there. They're going to do the structural work to the foundation. They're also going to replace the interior ceiling. You'll probably see a pod storage unit arrive the end of this month, because they have to move some things out. But that important work to preserve that structure, this is the first phase, will be underway. And they're looking to do a community event, he wanted me to mention, this fall. It'll be the 150th year of the school in September, sort of a back-to-school type of thing to promote it. He did say he would like to come to the board sometime over the summer to give an update on this first phase, as well as the next phase in this event they're trying to plan for September. So there are a lot of things underway. Just to meld into with the FY 2020 budget, as the board is aware, we had a circumstance that posed some challenges, but we are in good shape on both the budget and the warrant in preparation for your April 16th meeting. The FinCom would like to come for part of it to do the approval of the budget, and Mr. Diamond indicated they'd like to take their votes at that time on their positions on the various articles. Obviously, the board will approve the warrant. The budget will come in at a 5% increase from FY19, and I've discussed that before. That's with adding in the fire contract and the COLA, and then some other adjustments. It was at about 4.7. It's going to come in at about 5. We'll have it completely ready to go, the exact figure, as we move forward. In terms of the warrant, the deadline for all articles is April the 12th. That includes citizens petitions. I'm not aware of any citizens petitions from the town clerk. The structure of the warrant is we're going to need to have a special town meeting right at 7 for 2 articles. One is a prior year bill in the amount of $6,300 that had to do with the LED grant that we got for the LED light upgrade. There was a bill in there that was not factored into the grant, so that requires a 3/4 vote. And then the second article for that is the $50,000 supplemental appropriation for the solid waste enterprise to get us through the balance of the year, to make up that shortfall that was driven largely by the increase in recycling cost, which was direct increase from China, as well as some hauling costs. The regular town meeting after that right now stands at about 32. There are 32 articles to date. That includes the enterprise, the revolving fund, the CPC. There are 2 CPC projects, the board's aware. One is the community garden, and the other one that is going through the process now is the fire station, the historic fire station. CPC hasn't made a definitive decision on that. The town election is on Monday, April 22nd, and part of that is the capital exclusion ballot question. We are going to be doing some outreach on the capital exclusion ballot, not advocating obviously a position, but doing some outreach to, in the most basic way, explain what a capital exclusion is, what it isn't. Take Chief Pedrazi's presentation to the board last time about the actual engine replacement project, and do our best so people understand on April 22nd and also at town meeting the importance, what the project is, but also what they're voting or what their vote means in both parts. We will be setting up a buy board meeting. We have a lot to do on the buy board. The big 2 are the forum on the budget this month, and I say the forum, the public outreach on the budget booklet that we're going to have. So we're sort of in that real crunch on that sense as far as the outreach. The warrant will also have, which it hasn't in recent time, it will have a table of contents. That table of contents will also break out the financial articles, and the financial articles will also, the historic financial articles will show the increase over the last year. So there's more information for the voter in terms of the table of contents and so forth. We'll have a mock-up of that. And that's been the main focus. Obviously appreciate the board's time and support on the water and sewer rates and the other two recommendations related to that, as well as the work of the rate review committee. It is a good group that the board has, and a lot of effort and thought and debate does go into those rates. Lastly, and I know that Selectman Hood is going to talk later more about the Vicksburg Square, but the new Vice President up at Devon's, Ms. Strunken, does want to come to the board this month, to introduce herself, of course, talk about some of the issues of mutual interest, which I've told her about, the wastewater contract, the interconnection issues, etc., but also to talk about the whole Vicksburg Square project, because I think that will be an important discussion moving forward. So that's where we're at. If there's any questions on any projects. Lastly, I did meet with Dr. Malone and express to her the board's interest in the town's immediate interest on the issue of the elementary school. And they are putting together their plan on the field, and to go back to Shirley, and she would like to come and give an update on the field, what they're actually going to be doing. I think that would be helpful for everybody.
So does she blow off the school conversation to talk about?
No,
I was just gonna say,
Yeah,
can't they
'cause I'm really
multitask?
starting-
and
Yeah,
have,
no,
like,
and
you
sick
know,
of hearing
part of
about
their
the field.
meeting about the field and then another part of the meeting about the elementary school, because
No, it's never on the
that's
agenda.
what we would do.
Their agenda
Right.
tonight
And
is
any other committee would do
this,
that.
this field
Yep.
moving
So-
forward is not a single mention of
Yeah, and
future elementary.
I understand the importance of the field, but it just couldn't move on with life.
Especially if the price increases $1 million a day like it seems
Yeah.
to.
So,
It's
but they
something.
need, I'm sorry, we have an agenda, we cover 10
Right.
different items, so do other committees and whatnot, and I think that, you know, maybe they could too. So,
Okay.
The key with the fields of the school is going to be coordinating the timing around that. So they need to get the field proposal put together so we can look at the runway for getting the elementary school project and see how they overlap.
Agreed. And as I mentioned before, as we begin this process on the feasibility of the senior center, which is looking at this whole issue of sites, and I mentioned, and I've said this at the last meeting, this site at Page Hilltop, again, we're talking on the conceptual level, but if you were to construct, if school in the back, that building in the front has some potential to the town. I mean, again, community meeting space, storage, et cetera, as we've
Indoor
discussed.
gym.
Because one of the things is we don't have a lot of sites, so we do have to get creative, but it is an issue of the timing. And so I did express, and I will again, that yes, of course, the field needs to be brought to conclusion. I think,
Oh, absolutely.
however that's going to be, that's hanging out there. But the elementary school is now on the forefront because, as mentioned, if all of our ducks were in a row tonight, conservatively, it could be a 7-year pipeline. So,
Right.
so she said that she would like to come on both of those issues. So I think the first one, the field, once they have their plan, is relatively straightforward because Ayer has already weighed in. It's more over there. But what do we do on forward motion on the
Right.
school? So, so that's sort of my update for this evening. I do have one action item. As the board is aware, under Mass General Law, any gifts to the town of Ayer have to be formally accepted by a vote in an open session posted meeting by the Board of Selectmen. And we have a very generous and interesting opportunity here. You have in your packet a letter dated March 1st from a Miss Ann Schroka. It was addressed to Barry Schwartzel, who's one of the commissioners of the Ayer Historic Commission. And just for the record, it is the donation of St. Andrew's materials and other historic town materials on behalf of the estate of Bayard Underwood and Lois H. Underwood. And you'll see it's quite a collection of items that the Historic Commission is respectfully recommending that the board accept. They would become, upon your vote, they would become property of the town of Ayer, and the Historic Commission would be the custodian responsible for these items. As you can see, some of these items are pictures and portraits that may ultimately be determined to be displayed at whether it's the town hall or the library, all to be determined. But there's quite an extensive list, and the values are considerable. Just in the interest of time, just to highlight a few, there's a black and white photo album from 19th and 20th century, early 20th century Ayer photos with a value of about $1,300. There is a pen and ink drawing of the Park Street Diner that was done by Bayard Underwood. There's one print is signed and framed. And then there are 215 prints that are loose and numbered and signed with a value of about $2,100. There are a box of rolled plans and drawings of the Ayer Town Hall, other plans and drawings of various houses and structures in Ayer. There's a lot of items of the St. Andrew's Church, which ultimately, again, would be open to discussion through the Historic Commission with St. Andrew's Church as to interest in these, but church reports, historic church reports and documents and so forth. And so in talking to the commission, the total value of the donation is $4,225. The recommendation would be for the Board of Selectmen to vote to accept all of the items listed in the March 1st letter as gifts to the town of Ayer under the custodianship of the Ayer Historic Commission.
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
And please thank them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know,
Cool
some of
things
this
in there.
stuff really
Yeah.
looks cool.
Yeah.
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 Town hall.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's even a watercolor of downtown Ayer by
Yeah.
Harding Bush and everything, so.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
Can we get some of the images digitalized with Cindy and?
That's a good idea. Yeah,
Display those on the TV screens and
yeah,
other places around town, on the town website would be great.
great. Okay, so obviously with the board's vote, I will work with the commission on the transfer and the paperwork, and that's an excellent idea. Where things that won't be damaged can be scanned, and we'll work with the commission to determine, the proper home or place for some of these things, and some of them may be lended to, for example, St. Andrew's Church. But a nice piece of history for the town.
Oh, I
So,
know, it was a cool looking list,
Yeah.
so.
So,
Okay.
thank you.
Very
That concludes my report for this evening, if there's any questions from the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Scott.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. So this afternoon at work, I was looking at, just curious to see if Mass Development updated the Vicksburg Square website, which they have, and they've started having more meetings and public hearings regarding the proposal that they have for the special town meeting in June. They are meeting on, I just read them off, they're available on Mass Development's website, but on Monday, April 8th, they're meeting in Devens at the Devens Committee, 7 o'clock. April 8th, also, they're meeting at the Harvard Town Hall with the Harvard Municipal Affordable Housing Trust. And then Wednesday, the 17th at 7 o'clock at Harvard Town Hall. Wednesday, April 24th at 7, they'll be here at Ayer Town Hall. And then Wednesday, May 8th at 8 a.m., the meeting at the Devon's Enterprise Commission over in Devon's. So I think as we approach the special town meeting in June, we should start kind of digging into that a little bit more and figuring out what the impact is going to be on our community with what they're proposing for the zoning changes.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you very
And
much.
maybe to add to that, Ben kept coming back and offering a little bit more and more to the community. Have we honed in on
No, I think
probables? Or
I think we need to
maybes
have
and-
that discussion, and I think now with the new director, the new vice president, when she comes, because she'll be the point person. But yes, to answer your question, is I think we need to have that further discussion.
That's kind of died
Yeah.
down quite a bit since,
Yeah.
God, I think it was before I went for surgery, so October, maybe he was coming quite a bit.
Yeah.
September,
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
Since the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has this gone through the internal department review process? And I know it's difficult because it's not a specified project, it's just a zoning change.
It hasn't, but what I'm thinking out loud is if we get what they have, okay, whatever that proposal, like we could have our folks take a look at it, specifically public safety and so forth.
All they're looking
Yeah.
to do is just change the zoning to residential, and then I think it's 350 units of residential,
Okay.
So,
which there's
Madam
no
Chair-
project there, sorry.
No, we discussed it informally, but they're like, well, we need to see plans, but
Right.
obviously
But
there's no
nothing
plans,
like
right?
that,
Right.
yeah.
So it's kind of, we've discussed it at department head meetings with different departments, but without exactly knowing, but we can ask at the.
I mean, I would think that the impact of 350 dwellings would be easily, do the math of 2 people per dwelling in cars and
Yeah.
whatever your standard criteria is, and none of it affects Harvard directly. I mean, they have
Right.
to drive through Ayer to get to Harvard. So I mean, ultimately, the burden of all that falls on us.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
two of the things when I did talk to Jessica, the new up there, I said two of the things in Ayer. One is we know there are going to be impacts. We know there's not a specific project, but just as you mentioned, we all know that it's going to have a direct impact, like traffic and so forth, on Ayer, not Harvard as much and so forth. So to the extent that we can provide some level of information or understanding on some of that would go a long way. The second thing, and she realizes this, the challenge that they have is you're asking for a zoning change without a specific project, and we've had some people ask that, oh, hey, this Vicksburg Square thing, is it the old Trinity proposal? Obviously it's not. We know it's estimated at 350 units, but a lot of people like, what's this gonna look like type of thing. So that's the challenge, in my opinion, they have, is you're asking for a change before the project. That doesn't mean it hasn't been done, it doesn't mean it can't be done, but I think a lot of people like to, as Carly mentioned too, even our people like to see a plan.
Right.
And touting the benefits of adding more affordable housing is great, but that doesn't move the needle for me in any way when you start adding 600 car trips a day and
Yeah.
all that, the fire department and police response. It could be the greatest project ever, but for me alone, saying that you've increased your affordable housing by 1%, sorry.
Yeah, and lastly, what I understand, and Selectman Hood experienced this several months ago and reported back here, the Devon's residents are extremely vocal about the traffic impacts and so forth. Right in their own backyard, before we even get to Ayer and lesser to Harvard.
Right.
That's the challenge.
But they don't really have a say, right?
Who?
The Devon's residents, except for.
Well, they voted
voted
within
our
the
town,
town
yeah.
boundaries, but that's their only say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an article there's a link on the website, article in, I think it's the Worcester Business Journal. They had an interview with the new leader of mass development up there,
Oh.
discussing the project, so. She was touting the need to increase the population in Devon, which I disagree with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's a cart before the horse thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's going away if it doesn't pass again either. I think they're hell bent on this.
Well, I
some-
agree,
or
so
There's
too.
gonna be
One-
some zoning change that they're gonna propose blanket wise, I think, to loosen things up there if they can.
There was a comment someone had made, I guess Harvard had said at one of the meetings that they should instead of having layering over the residential on top of what's there, they should actually just get rid of the whole science and technology and just do residential only. Like basically make up your mind what is it gonna be. I understand they're trying to loosen the restrictions to get a developer to come in, but I think the towns, particularly our town, would be hard pressed to give approval if we have no idea what that project could look like.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
Then there has to be benefits too. You can't just,
but,
there you go.
yeah, it's an urban density housing development in a rural, very rural setting out there. Single, double yellow line going through.
Right.
Does Harvard even have any, it would be Route 2, right? Would be
Yeah,
there an
no direct
access? They would have to get
No
Route
direct
2
access.
to Jackson Road?
Yeah.
I mean,
Correct.
there's no,
To Jackson Road,
for,
it's
I mean,
down by the
emergency
road.
medical, I mean, they're probably the third town that would be called for
Yeah.
anything major up there, right? Even though it's
Shirley's closer than.
technically, yeah.
We would be the primary, yes.
Yeah, of course.
And if you remember, Selectmen, on the map
Mhm.
of Vicksburg Square, it's
It's like
just
one
a
corner or
tiny
something,
corner
yeah.
is actually in territorial Harvard.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I read the meeting minutes from March 19th. I think I spent back a grammar error. Other than that,
Hopefully on your capital plan.
you'd have to confirm if it looked good.
That looked fine. I read through it also.
I did not read through it, and I believe you both. So we make a motion to approve the minutes for Tuesday, March 19th, 2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Meeting minutes approved. All right, anything else? All right, then. Well, then I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Good night, everybody.